Hello AuthorTube. Welcome to my brand new channel. My name is Nichelle and I am a 20-year-old aspiring author from Colorado. I prefer she, her, hers pronouns. I'm also a full-time dog mama. This is my little chunky monkey. Her name is Izzy and she's very grumpy looking, but she's very sweet. She is almost 8 years old and only 14 pounds, so she's very tiny. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Okay, bye. I'll tell you right from the get-go that I am a huge introvert, so this is a pretty big deal for me and I'm quite nervous. So please forgive me if I end up stuttering or stumbling or anything like that. So to get started, I figured I would introduce myself a little bit further before jumping into the AuthorTube newbie tag. So like I said, I'm 20 years old and I'm about to start my junior year of university, which is crazy, especially given all the craziness in the world right now. It's August 2020, so anyone watching later, you know how it is right now, and I hope everyone's doing well out there in these crazy times. But I'm actually majoring in anthropology, which is the study of human behavior. So basically, I can apply this to writing in a lot more ways than people think, and it's really interesting to observe human behavior and culture and tie that into writing. For my minors, I am minoring in German and writing. German's just for fun, it has nothing to do with anything. And writing is actually primarily what I want to do for my career. I want to be a full-time author. That's the dream. Of course, that's not quite where I'm at the moment, but I am taking a lot of creative writing courses and really enjoying them. I also just wanted to give you guys a little bit more of an insight into my personality. We already established that I'm an introvert, but I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a heads up. That way you might be able to understand me better and empathize with me more about the different topics that I will be covering on this YouTube channel. So right before recording this, I took a personality test just to make sure that I was still in this category, and I am. For the 16 personality types, I am an advocate, which is INFJT. And basically what this means is that I am more introverted and I depend on a lot of plans to keep me going. But I also am a more reserved and private person, and I really rely on my emotions and my feelings to drive me through the world. And sometimes that can be a weakness and sometimes that can be a strength. Along those same lines, I am really interested in the Enneagram test. So I'm actually an Enneagram Type 2 Wing 1. So they define the Enneagram Type 2 as the helper. So this means that I take a lot of my time to support and understand other people, sometimes to a fault, but I'm working on it. And with the Wing 1, that means that I have a more organized energy and I'm more of a perfectionist. This also hinders me from being as social as other Type 2s with a Wing 3. And I also struggle with the idea of selfishness. And while we're on that same track, I am a proud Hufflepuff, so I don't care if I get huffy and puffy. I think it's really important that we value kindness and loyalty, and I would say that anyone who wants to discuss Harry Potter with me, I'm all game, so just please feel free to reach out. I guess it's time that we go ahead and get into the AuthorTube newbie tag. The one that I am using, I found on Pinterest, and it was created by Jenna Streety, so thank you, Jenna. Using these questions to go ahead and give you a little bit of an introduction into what I hope this channel will accomplish. And if there's anything at the end, I'll probably add it for anyone who might be curious. I am an extremely wordy person, so especially when I get nervous. So we're gonna see how this goes. So the first question is, how did you find out about AuthorTube? I am pretty active on Instagram, and that is my main platform as far as the writing community goes. But some of the wonderful people that I follow on Instagram also have AuthorTubes, and I've been watching them quite regularly and was encouraged and inspired by them to go ahead and start this channel. So I'd like to go ahead and just say a couple of people who have really influenced me into starting this and stepping out of my own bubble. And those people would be Sarah Sutton, Brie Bonomo, and Autumn Ashley. So thank you guys for encouraging me on all platforms and just making me feel part of the writing community in a really special way that I could not be more thankful for. So the second question is, what genres do you write in? I am a reader and writer of almost all genres. I have really very few genres that I wouldn't like to touch. Those specific ones would be like horror. I'm not a good jump scare person or anything like that. Right now I am actually more of a young adult fantasy writer. but I also have a little bit of experience with writing a young adult mystery novel. Not that I've touched it in a long time, but I mainly focus on fantasy. So the third question is, what is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story, i.e. children's, young adult, new adult, adult, etc.? Most of the time I write in the past tense. I just tend to be more comfortable there, not sure why. As far as point of view, I have not written in the third person in so long. I really prefer reading and writing in the first person because it gives you a better insight into the character's mind most of the time for me. And I actually have been playing around with multiple POV, which is really scary for me because I've never done it before. So if anyone has any tips, please let me know. I'll probably talk more about that in a later video. And then as far as category of story, I think I already established that I'm a young adult writer, but I really do want to explore more about new adult and potentially adult in the future. So the fourth question is, are you a plotter, pantser, or plantser? And I think that we probably have already established this, but I'd like for you guys to go ahead and know right off the bat, I am a plotter. It takes a lot for me to change my ideas about the story because I usually have everything planned out right from the get-go. But I mean, I think everyone is kind of a plantser, the in-between. But if I had to identify in a specific way, I would say that I am definitely a plotter. The fifth question is, are you a self-published, published, or yet-to-be-published author? I am a yet-to-be-published author. I really do want to be traditionally published. That is my overall goal, but I have been playing around with the idea of self-publishing as well. Number 6 is, what publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or use? If you're not yet published, what is your dream publishing house and or literary agent? So as we've established, since I am not published, I do have goals to be traditionally published, and ideally I would really love to be published by HarperCollins. I'm not quite sure why, other than my favorite girl's name in the entire world is Harper. So I have dibs on it for if I have a daughter. But I also just really enjoy a lot of the books that HarperCollins puts out. And it's one of the big 5. I think that's pretty much everyone's dream. And as far as a literary agent, I mean, I have people written down, but I don't think that I have a list that I'd be willing to share right here out on the internet about it. But I have been using the 2020 Writers Market to help with that decision. Number 7 is, what AuthorTube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? And that is a great question. Basically, I don't think that I would consider myself an expert on anything, so I can't really give that many tips, except for I'm an intense plotter, so if anyone needs help with that, I am definitely more than willing to share. This channel is more going to be documenting my writing experience and how I feel about specific writing topics, as well as I'd really like to try vlogging, which is something that I never thought I would say, but I really enjoy watching the writing vlogs, so I would love to document that process and get to know everyone in the AuthorTube community as far as what we do on a day-to-day life as a writer. Additionally, I want to do some of the booktubing as well, and I'll make a second video regarding the booktube, but that's also some of the content that I'll definitely want to be participating in as well. Number 8 is, when did you start writing? For me, writing has been pretty much an overall goal for as long as I can remember. As far as what was the first age I can remember, I know that at some point in elementary school, probably 8 or 9, we started writing creative writing stories in one of my classes, and from there I just absolutely fell in love. But I've always loved books, and I wrote my own stories as a child, so I can't tell you what age that I started writing, other than I can tell you that I started seriously deciding to be an author at the age of 12. When I started middle school, I started playing around with more writing and started actually tackling novels rather than little baby short stories or children's books. On the same note, number 9 is, what was the first story you ever wrote? This one I actually can remember the first real story that I wrote. I was about 9. My brother had just gotten engaged to my beautiful sister-in-law, and she is obsessed with penguins. So when I was 9, I ended up writing the story called Penny the Penguin, and it was about Penny wanting to be like a different bird and learn how to fly. I was really proud of this story, and I wanted to publish it and illustrate it and all these things. Of course, my illustrations would have been stick figure penguins, but that's okay. But yeah, that would be the first story that I ever wrote. As far as my novel endeavor, when I was 12, I started writing this story that I have no idea what I called it, other than I know that my main character's name was Cindy Nooser. The reason I know this is because it was a typical teen drama where my main character was a nerd in the nerd that's not involved in band or anything like that. I don't know why she was a nerd, but she fell in love with a football player who was dating a cheerleader. Pretty much You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift. And basically in that one, I know that her name was Cindy Nooser because they chanted at her, Cindy Nooser is a loser. I was pretty creative back then. I'm not quite sure where I went with that, and then obviously as I got older I realized that those kinds of things, at least at my high school, did not happen. And if that happened at any of your high schools, I am so sorry. And anyone who might be like, why are you saying band people are geeks and nerds? I just want to go ahead and say that I was the band geek in high school. I played flute and piccolo in marching band, and I ended up being drum major my senior year. So I think that saying a band geek and band nerd are pretty proud titles. So number 10 is, what authors have inspired your writing the most? And honestly, I hate this question because I would say literally any author has inspired me the most, because I think it's just such an accomplishment to actually get your book out there onto a spine into these pages. I absolutely adore writers and just the idea of publishing a book. So basically anyone, but if I had to pick a specific person, I know that it's kind of cliche to say J.K. Rowling and things like that. Definitely would love to be as successful as J.K. Rowling, but if we're gonna stick into the realistic dreams, I love Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. Passenger and Wayfarer, they are just some of my favorite books of all time, and when people make me pick a favorite book, these are the ones I go to. I just really love how it brings together fantasy and historical fiction. I just think it's really beautifully crafted, and I would love to be as successful as Alexandra Bracken. Since she has quite a span of different books and styles, I think that that's a really cool thing. I'm also really looking forward to Lore coming out in January. So if you guys ever want to talk about Alexandra Bracken, I love her. I guess I'll go ahead and put that on display right there. Number 11, my favorite number, by the way. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing whenever you find the time? I think it's pretty much a given that we would say I would schedule out the time. Unfortunately, my life is a little chaotic at the moment with full-time school. I'm actually going to be taking 18 credit hours this semester, which is the maximum that you can take. It's going to be quite interesting. And I'm also an employee at the school and at a different job. So I kind of have a lot going on at the moment. So I have to schedule out my time, but usually it gets interrupted. So I just have to fit in writing whenever I can. And I know that adding a YouTube channel on top of this is going to be crazy, but it's okay. We're gonna be fine. We'll be fine. Number 12 is, do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? So I mostly use my computer for typing. I wish I had a typewriter. That is definitely on the bucket list. And then as far as writing everything out by hand, I do use a bullet journal to write out all of my plans by hand. And I also make little notes about edits as far as what I want to keep track of and things like that. I definitely want to show you guys a little bit more about my bullet journal because I love bullet journaling, and so that's definitely something to look out for as well. As far as where I write, I usually write right here in this room, which is my writing office, which I'm pretty lucky to have. Actually, I just moved into this house and was able to have my own room dedicated to writing, which is pretty exciting. And sometimes I write in my bed as well, but that's usually not so productive, so I try to avoid it. And the last one is number 13. What are you most looking forward to now that you're part of AuthorTube? Really, I am just so excited to get to know you all. I really want to hear about your projects and what you are doing as far as your writing for your own writing projects. Basically, I really want to cultivate a more creative side and feel more a part of the community. So that is what I'm going to be striving for, is getting to know as many of you as possible, while being able to nurture my writing and make sure that it doesn't fall by the wayside, especially as I start this crazy semester. I also just wanted to mention a few hobbies that I have that aren't so related to writing but still kind of correspond. I really enjoy bullet journaling. It kind of keeps me on track with my crazy schedule. I also collect mugs and teacups and different things like that, teapots. This is my mug for the day. It says kindness counts. I have a lot of kindness themed mugs and kindness themed anything. So basically you're probably going to see it pretty often. This bracelet is also kindness themed, of course. And I also really enjoy drinking all kinds of tea. So that little tea bag right there, that picture, my sister-in-law made me, and it's super cute. So pretty much that is what I'm all about, and I really look forward to getting to know you guys and sharing a little bit more about my writing journey with you all. If you would like to hit like and subscribe and comment, that would be really appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.